안녕하세요. 이세라의 예술러닝, 저는 이세라입니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 저는 이영준 모이세 신부입니다.
오늘은 제가 그 예술과 철학계를 아주 뒤흔든
와.
뜨거운 화제작을 들고 왔습니다.
네네.
우리가 신부님 어떤 작품을 보면요, 그게 뭐 미술이든 영화든
네네.
감동을 받기도 하고 놀라기도 하고 막
그렇죠.
웃기도 하고 울기도 하고 막 이러잖아요.
맞습니다.
근데 이 많은 것들이 정말로 내가 느끼는 게 아니고 사실은 누군가가 미리 이렇게 느끼게끔 정교하고 치밀하게 설계해 놓은 거였다면요?
전 5글자로 표현해 볼게요.
어떤?
가스라이팅.
네.
너는 이렇게 느껴야 해.
너는 이렇게 느껴야 돼.
그럼요.
넌 따라만 와.
너는 따라만 와. 이걸 보는 순간 너 이걸 느끼게 돼 있어.
오늘 소개할 책, 진짜 예술, 가짜 예술이 바로 이 질문에서, 이 의구심에서 출발을 하거든요.
네네.
이 책이 지금 2015년도에 처음 나왔는데 10년이 지난 지난해 개정판이 처음 나오면서 독자와 이 평단들 사이에서는 예언서 같다. 지금 읽으니까 이거 마치 예언서 같다.
신부로서 예언서라고 하니까
가만히
그냥
있을 수 없어요.
가만히 있을 수 없어요.
네. 오늘은 우리 둘만 얘기를 하기보다
네.
저자님을 좀 직접 모셔야겠다.
네?
네.
아니 이게 옮긴 사람도 아니고요.
네. 이 예술 러닝 최초로 해외 저자 인터뷰 아니겠습니까?
그럼 어떻게 언어는 몰라. 영어입니까? 프랑스어입니까?
신부님 또 프랑스어에 자신이 있잖아요.
네, 빨레
프랑스어
펑세.
할 거예요?
예, 빨레 펑세.
아닙니다. 한국어로
아닙니까?
하겠습니다.
한국어
저는
좋습니다.
네.
네.
모든 이제 구독자분들을 위해서 한국어로 진행을 하도록 하겠습니다.
네.
오늘 저자분을 모신 또 가장 큰 이유가 있어요. 책의 제목, 진짜 예술,
가짜 예술.
이 책의 제목만 보면은 저는 사실 처음에 좀 오해를 했어요.
오.
이거 약간 그러면 진짜 예술과 가짜 예술을 뭔가 가르는 건가?
저는 이런 생각도 했습니다. 카테고리를 나눠서 어떤 영화는 진짜 영화, 어떤
이거는
영화는
가짜?
가짜 예술 이렇게 나누는 책이 아닐까?
오해가 있을 수도 있거든요. 이 제목만 해도 이게 상당히 자극적이기 때문에.
맞습니다.
네. 저자님을 직접 모시고 오늘 이야기를 한번 나눠보도록 하겠습니다.
좋습니다.
네, 안녕하세요 작가님. 나와주셔서 감사합니다.
It's my great pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
네, 아마도 한국에서는 첫 단독 인터뷰가 아닐까 싶은데요.
Yes, definitely.
영광입니다. 먼저 이야기를 본격적으로 나누기 전에요. 우리 그 알라딘 망건당 TV 구독자분들에게 인사 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
Well, thank you all for tuning in for this interview. I hope you will enjoy it. I'm very, very honored to be with you. I couldn't be more delighted or surprised by this Korean translation of my book. It feels like a big event in my life, so I'm very happy to be here.
아직 이 책을 안 읽으신 분들을 위해서
네네.
아주 간단하게 이 책 소개를 좀 드리자면요. 이 저자분이 우리가 예술이라고 부르면서 감동받는 것들 중에 상당수가 사실은 인공물, 그러니까 정해진 반응을 끌어내려고 설계된 것이라고 이 책에서 이야기를 하고 있습니다. 그래서 뭐 3만 년 전 동굴 벽화부터 오늘의 영화까지 넘나들면서 굉장히 흥미롭게 이야기를 풀어나가고 계신데 제목부터 굉장히 도발적이죠. 진짜 예술, 가짜 예술이라는 책의 제목인데 이 둘 사이의 차이가 굉장히 궁금합니다. 진짜 예술과 가짜 예술은 어떻게 다른 걸까요?
When I wrote this book, I was working in the film industry in Canada. And so I was working on many different projects. Some of them were projects that mattered very much to me and to the people that I collaborated with. And some projects we were clearly doing on order according to standards that were. So there's always a struggle in the life of an artist between what they feel they should bring out of themselves and what the world requires of them. But it does mean that ultimately, over time, you end up with very different ways of using the aesthetic, ways of using beauty, ways of using those things that we associate with art. In some cases, I find, especially in a very mediated culture like our own, a culture with a lot of media constantly, there will be a lot of people who will be trying to use the aesthetic to do things that are very different from what William Shakespeare was trying to do when he wrote Macbeth, or what a great filmmaker might be trying to do when making a film. And so the aesthetic is just a part of our reality, but it can be used to different ends. What I call artifice is works that use the aesthetic to communicate a preconceived emotion, a very specific emotion or idea that it puts in the percipient, in the person who is reading or seeing or listening to the work. Whereas art is using the aesthetic to open up a space of feeling in the person, where many things may be felt. In fact, I think that the work of art, by its nature, is asking each of us to react to it and respond to it in a unique way that is really our own.
잘 들었습니다. 근데 인공물이라는 그 표현을 쓰셔가지고 저희한테 좀 확 와닿거나 아니면 뭔가 익숙하게 쓰는 용어들은 아니에요. 예술이라는 범주 안에서 인공물이라는 단어를 그렇게 정의한 이유가 무엇인지 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
I chose the word artifice because in English, artifice has a connotation of deception or trickery. It also simply means made by humans. But I chose the word artifice because of its specific connotation in English. Also in French, which is my first language. Feu d'artifice in French means fireworks. And fireworks are a good example because fireworks are traditionally used in the West to celebrate the state, the holidays that have to do with the government and our society, and unifying moments where everyone is together feeling the same thing, festivals, that sort of thing. And so artifice to me just had that connotation, whereas art in modern English has a much looser and stranger and more mysterious meaning. No one can really agree on what art is. And so to try to discuss art today, at least where I come from, is a very bold thing to do because no one gets to decide in the West what art is. I think that that's the wrong path because I think that if we look at artworks, we see that they are similar in very specific ways. They tend to call our attention to the mystery of being. The reason why religions like Christianity or Buddhism use art and make it so central to the way that to their expression is precisely because art calls us to the mystery. But a commercial for a car is not designed to make you think of the mystery of being. It's designed to make you want to buy a car. It's giving you an image of the world in which all the questions have been answered, so that all that's left to do is buy the car. So you can see that although a car commercial and let's say a great film by, I don't know, Stanley Kubrick are very similar superficially, they're very different on a deeper level in what they create in us, what they cause us to feel and think.
그러니까 저자님의 말씀은 예술은 뭔가 모호한 것이고 하나의 정답을 향해서 가는 건 아닌데 인공물이라는 거는 하나의 답을 향해서 가는 거고 이미 결론이 내려져 있는 상태에서 사람들의 감정을 이끄는 거다라는 말씀이신 것 같아요. 근데 이 하나의 메시지로 사람들을 이끄는 거 확실한 메시지가 있는 게 나쁜 걸까요?
No, not necessarily, because we live in a society and we need to be able to agree on many, many things. I think that the best use of a society is to allow people to then work on the spiritual dimension. And so the univocal or the single meaning use of aesthetics that I call artifice is certainly necessary to keep a society together. Fireworks are good for that, but also signage, stop signs on the street. They use color and shapes to communicate very clear ideas to us. I don't want stop signs to be ambiguous, right? But the hope is that once you have a society, then people are able to find meaning in life. And when the question of finding meaning in life comes up, everything becomes ambiguous. Art is a way for humans across all around the planet. Art has been a way for humans to communicate this sense of mystery and ambiguity that we feel in things. It's a way to connect us back to the mystery. And so the ambiguity is simply the fact that it's not giving you a clear answer because it's pointing you to the mystery that is something that we all share, we all experience.
저는 이렇게 이 책을 읽으면서 이 작가님이 말씀하셨던 모호함이라는 개념이 불친절하다, 사람을 헷갈리게 한다 이런 개념이 아니라 오히려 이 관객들을 존중한다는 걸로 받아들였어요. 그러니까 관객을 해석의 주인으로 남겨두는 거니까 그런 면에서 이 모호함이라는 개념이 상당히 좀 좋았는데 하나 제가 이 책을 읽으면서 되게 재밌었던 거는 아바타 영화 아바타를 인공물의 대표적인 사례로 지금 꼽고 계시잖아요. 아바타를 인공물의 대표작으로 꼽으셨던 이유가 뭘까요?
I wrote this book some time ago, and so at the time, that film was still recent enough for me to think of it spontaneously. As an example, I love Avatar. I have no criticism to make of that film as an entertaining movie. But the problem with films like Avatar is that they seek to eliminate ambiguity. And so in Avatar, you know exactly who the bad guys are, who the good guys are. It's much less ambiguous than even a fairy tale, which is much more ambiguous. And so there's an element of taking the easy way, and that can be good if you're trying to sell a Kia or if you're trying to sell popcorn through the movie theater. But it doesn't call you back to that expansive sense of mystery that I think art alone can connect us with.
한국에서의 책 제목은 진짜 예술, 가짜 예술로 번역돼서 나왔어요. 그래서 이 책 제목만 봐서는 진짜 예술만 우리가 시사 선택해야 하고 가짜 예술은 멀리해야 된다는 것처럼 보여집니다. 진짜 예술과 가짜 예술, 무엇을 구분하자는 의미인지 어떤 의미를 쓰였는지 좀 알려주시면 이 책을 구매해서 보시는 분들에게 아주 중요한 가이드가 될 것 같다는 생각이 듭니다.
When you develop a conceptual distinction philosophically, you're always operating in the abstract. And so in reality, and I do say this in the book, everything's mixed up in the world. And so you have car commercials that are like artistic works despite themselves. And you have lots of artworks in galleries that are very simple and very direct in what they're communicating. In reality, everything's mixed up. But I do think that this conceptual framing allows us to have a new discussion about art. At least for me, was more difficult to have before I wrote the book. So yes, it is a tool for perception, a tool for analysis, not a judgment on the works that are out there. Except for Avatar.
저는 근데 이 책 읽으면서 그것도 궁금했어요. 저자님이 영상을 또 만들어 오신 분이기도 하잖아요. 그 아바타 말고 저자님께서 꼽으시는 모호함을 가장 좀 잘 살린 그런 영화나 컨텐츠나 이런 게 있을까요?
A question I love and hate. I'm really looking forward to seeing The Odyssey, the new film, but I haven't seen it yet. Recently, my daughters and I watched a television show from the 1990s called Twin Peaks. I had seen it before, and so she wanted to watch it, so we watched it together, all 3 seasons, and we were deeply moved and disturbed by it. You can see the effect of art there, because when we would finish watching an episode, we would have discussions, and our discussions would go into places where, normally things we wouldn't really talk about normally. And so we talked about existence and death and life and love. And the film didn't give us quick answers about these things, but it raised the questions, and it made the questions important. It asked to be discussed. And so that's a recent example, I would say.
저는 가끔 이제 현대 미술이라든지 우리가 소위 예술가가 만들어 놓은 작품들을 볼 때 가끔 이제 화가 날 때가 있습니다. 이 화가 난 이유는 그 모호함 때문이에요. 근데 이 모호함을 작가님께서는 정말 중요한 예술의 가치라고 얘기하셨고, 현대인들은 그 유튜브의 숏폼이라든지 이런 짧은 영상 안에서 메시지를 계속 던져주고 있어가지고 더 생각을 많이 차단시키고 힘들게 만드는 상황인데, 그런 상황에서 모호함이 우리에게 다가왔을 때는 감정적인 부분이 더 먼저 올라오고 나를 더 답답하게 만들고 오히려 더 화가 나게 하는 상황들을 연출하기 시작하거든요. 그러면 책에서는 그 모호함이 우리를 더 깊은 세계 안으로 존재에 대한 어떤 대면할 수 있는 기회들로 이렇게 마련한다고 하지만, 실제로는 저에겐 더 감정적으로 피하고 싶고 이런 감정들이 듭니다. 그래서 이런 현대인들에게 다시 진짜 예술, 그 모호함을 잘 이해할 수 있고 생각을 좀 더 깊게 할 수 있는 이런 방법들까지도 혹시 생각해 보셨는지도 여쭤보고 싶습니다.
That's a wonderful question. I do think that a lot of what we call contemporary art, if we applied the tools of the book to it, we would say that's artifice. A lot of concept art that's made to communicate a very clear idea, and sometimes a very confusing or disturbing idea. I would class that as artifice, not art. So it's a little weird. Art and artifice don't map on to commercialism and high culture. There's great art in comic books. There is artifice in the galleries of Venice. That's why I want to emphasize that it's a tool and not categories that we can apply systematically. Each of us, I think, comes into this world as a unique creation. And each of us has a unique vision of the world. And that applies to artists, of course. And I think great artists are able to express their unique vision of the world. And sometimes it can be disturbing or dark or not. doesn't matter. But it's always unique and therefore ambiguous because it's not something I can slot into a category that already exists. The people who read or listen to art are also unique. And so each of us has to find the art that speaks to his or her soul, I think. And there's no right or wrong answer to that, so long as each of us is looking for works that calls on us to bring out that uniqueness, to express what makes us different or new.
제가 이 책을 읽으면서 제일 크게 들었던 생각은 무엇이 예술이고 무엇이 인공물인지를 알아보는 그런 안목, 그런 눈을 갖고 싶다. 이 생각을 정말 많이 했어요. 이 책을 읽으면서. 저같이 평범한 사람이 그런 안목을 가지려면은 뭐를 해야 될까요?
I think that this is probably true in South Korea as it is in Canada, is that there is a sort of canon of works in our cultures that are universally seen as being important and significant. The Odyssey that I just mentioned is an example from the West. The Odyssey is a poem that was written thousands of years ago, and now to make that film, Christopher Nolan had to read the Odyssey and understand it and engage with it. So I think that one step that anyone can take is to read the great poetry of their own culture, to read what the past has given to us. And sometimes those are difficult works, but to know, to trust that if they made it all the way to 2026, it's because all the generations between the time they were made and now have decided that they were worth passing on. And so to make the effort to connect with the great art of our culture is one way into that world. And it's not something that requires any expertise. There is a reading of the Odyssey that is yours and yours alone because of your uniqueness. And so there's always a potential for discovery. It's never just a matter of like reading the classics because you've been told it's good for you, but of going there, trusting that there can be a new encounter, something that will change you, even if it's just in a small way. And that's something all of us can do.
네, 오늘 저희가 약속된 시간이 많이 지났어요.
네.
신부님 마지막으로 우리 그 작가님 보내드리기 전에
네.
혹시 하고 싶은 질문이나?
질문이
있어요?
진짜 너무 많고 산더미처럼 많은데 이거 다 하지 못하는 아쉬움만 전하겠습니다.
저는 그러면은 마지막으로 이 질문을 하나 드릴게요. 이 책이 지금 2015년도에 처음 나왔었고 이제 이번에 개정판이 10년 만에 나왔잖아요. 그러면서 독자들이나 이제 평단에서는 지금 와서 이 책을 다시 읽으니까 마치 예언서 같다. 네. 이런 이야기까지 나오고 있거든요. 작가님도 이번에 개정판을 내시면서 내가 봐도 이거는 정말 10년 전에 썼지만 놀라울 만큼 내가 잘 썼다. 내가 썼지만 너무 놀랍다. 대단하다. 이런 부분이 있었는지 궁금하고 또 이 책이 한국 독자들에게 이렇게 좀 읽혔으면 좋겠다. 꼭 뭔가 전하고 싶은 메시지가 있다면 그것도 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
Okay, when I wrote this book, the idea that computers would one day make artworks was on my mind. But I didn't think that it would happen so fast. I didn't think that LLMs would allow for machines cranking out artworks within a few years of the book's release. But when I noticed that the word artificial intelligence was being used to define these new technologies, I was very happy because it was making the point for me. The thing about AI, artificial intelligence, is that it can't make art. It can make artifice. It can make very beautiful even moving artifice maybe, but it can only work from what already exists, from what it's been fed. And the artist is always creating something new. And that is why having a body being incarnated in the world is so important to doing art. It's about experience, it's about time, it's about the unknown, it's about mortality. And all these things are things that we can tell machines about, but the machines can't experience it. And so I was very happy that it turned out that way because it made the book relevant to today. And so in the new edition, I wrote a little afterword where I talk about that. But it was a pleasant surprise at the same time as I'm disappointed with the new challenges that art face now because of these technologies. I'm a huge fan of Korean art and culture. So I think that I've often thought this before. If there's one culture on earth that challenges my theory because it can make artifice that's also art, that's also artifice, it's Korean. But my exposure is limited because I know Korean cinema and I know K-pop because my daughter was a huge fan and I love it. So all this to say that I'm actually much more curious to know what Korean readers have to tell me, because although we're all human, our cultures are very far apart, very different. I'm very, very curious to know how Korean readers will interpret this and how they might change my way of seeing more than I am about what I can bring to them.
네, 감사합니다.
네, 작가님 긴 시간 동안 말씀 너무 감사하고요. 오늘 너무 즐거운 시간이었습니다.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
네, 이렇게 마르텔 작가님과 함께 이야기 나눠봤습니다.
네.
뭐든지 요즘은 빠르게 이해를 하고 빠르게 소비하기도 하고 명확한 결론을 원하는 시대이기도 하잖아요.
네네.
아까 신부님 말씀하신 것처럼 모호하거나 어렵거나 하면은 일단 화가 좀 나죠.
화가 치밀죠.
맞습니다. 네. 그런데 오히려 그런 확실함이, 이 모호함의 반대편에 있는 이런 확실함이 우리를 가장 쉽게 또 조정을 하는 것일 수도 있지 않을까.
그렇습니다.
이런
맞네요.
생각을 작가님과 이야기를 나누면서 또 해봤습니다.
맞습니다.
다음 시간에는 이렇게 우리를 조종하는 것들과 우리를 자유롭게 하는 것들은 무엇인지 진짜 예술의 세계를 한번 더 자세히 들여다보도록 하겠습니다.
좋습니다.